A 15-year-old girl went to her classmate's house to pick up a textbook and disappeared without a trace. The police launched a large-scale investigation, which led to a rather horrifying discovery. Today, we will tell you what happened to Alisa Otremba. Alisa was born in 1996 in the large American city of Fort Worth, Texas. Her father was in the military, which caused the family to move frequently. By the age of 15, Alisa had lived in 5 different states, as well as in Germany and the United Kingdom. At the beginning of 2011, her family moved to Las Vegas. Alisa, who had turned 15 that year, had been homeschooled throughout the last academic year. However, in the new location, she enrolled in the local school. On Friday, September 2nd, it was a holiday and not a school day. To mark the occasion, a football game took place at her school, and Alisa participated in the marching band before it started. Afterward, she planned to visit a classmate to borrow a geometry textbook, which she needed to complete her homework for the upcoming week. It was getting late, and her mother didn't want to let her go alone, but eventually she agreed. At 6:38 p.m., Alisa texted her mother, saying that she would be home by 7 p.m. and that her phone was about to die. After that, the girl never made contact again. Around 10 p.m., her worried mother decided to call the police. Officers arrived at their home, interviewed the family, and began the search. The police managed to reconstruct Alisa's approximate route and focused all efforts on searching the area. Despite searching throughout the night, they were unable to find her. The next day, the police continued their search for Alisa. At some point, her mother received a call from an acquaintance who told her that a body had been found on an abandoned lot not far from their home. The site was only 90 meters away from Alisa's house. The woman immediately rushed there, but the area was already cordoned off with yellow tape. The police refused to let her near the body and couldn't confirm whether it was Alisa. They only asked her to bring Alisa's dental records to the station for identification. Soon, more details emerged. The body that had been found was severely burned, making it extremely difficult to identify. Experts could only determine that the deceased was a girl between the ages of 13 and 18. It was only after Alisa's mother brought her dental records that doctors confirmed it was indeed Alisa's body. First, experts established that the girl had been sexually assaulted. They were able to retrieve biological material from the perpetrator, which was sent to a lab to obtain a DNA sample. Secondly, Alisa had suffered multiple blows. The unknown attacker had also tried to dispose of the body by fire, but this only made it impossible to identify her without the dental records. The police initially suspected Cody, the classmate from whom Alisa had planned to borrow the textbook. The boy was interrogated, but he claimed he hadn't been able to meet her that day, and his alibi was confirmed. Ultimately, the investigators were left with just one clue: the DNA sample from the perpetrator found on the girl's body. Once the experts were able to isolate the profile, it was immediately uploaded to the FBI database. However, there were no matches. Hitting a dead end, the investigators decided to reach out to the public for help. They shared all the known details of the case and asked people to come forward with any information that could assist in the investigation. As is often the case, the police department received numerous tips. People shared their observations, suspicions, and other information they believed to be useful. Unfortunately, all of these leads led nowhere, except for one. The story of an 18-year-old girl immediately seemed significant to the police. Elizabeth Morales called them and said that she knew the name of the perpetrator. On the evening of September the 2nd, Elizabeth went on a date with her boyfriend Danny. However, they were unable to spend time together. Throughout the evening, Danny's best friend kept calling him, but Danny ignored the calls. When the number of missed calls surpassed 50, he finally picked up. After a brief conversation, Danny told Elizabeth that he needed to leave and help his friend. He added something disturbing. Based on the conversation, it seemed like his friend had killed someone. At the time, Elizabeth thought it was just some kind of stupid joke, but when she saw the news about the crime the next day, everything fell into place. Unfortunately, she didn't know her boyfriend's friend personally and only knew his name, Javier. Naturally, the police immediately tracked down Elizabeth's boyfriend and interrogated him. At first, Danny denied his girlfriend's story and claimed there had been no such phone call. However, investigators made it clear to him that helping cover up a crime would make him an accomplice, and in the worst case, he could face the death penalty. Danny was clearly not prepared for such consequences, so he decided to tell the truth. That evening, Danny did indeed receive a call from his best friend, 19-year-old Javier Regitse. Javier urgently asked him to come and help. When they met, Javier confessed that he had sent a girl to the next world and asked Danny to drive him to a gas station. Danny complied. Javier filled an entire canister with gasoline and then asked to be driven to the empty lot, the same one where Alisa's body would later be found. There, Javier asked for help in disposing of the body, but Danny refused and left. He didn't plan on going to the police or reporting his best friend. With this information in hand, on September 6th, the police placed Javier's house under surveillance. They didn't have any physical evidence against him, so they hoped to gather something more substantial, like catching him in the act of hiding the murder weapon or some of Alisa's belongings. However, Javier didn't make any moves like that. The police, however, got another lead. Experts determined that Alisa's phone signal disappeared near Javier's house, which was less than 2 kilometers from where the body was found. This prompted them to make the decision to arrest him. A SWAT team surrounded his house, prepared for resistance if Javier tried to fight back, but to the detective's surprise, he calmly walked outside and surrendered without showing any emotion. Even more surprising was that Javier confessed to the crime during his very first interrogation. According to the criminal, he had spotted Alisa on the street and followed her for a while. When she entered a tunnel under the highway, he decided to attack but hesitated. He continued following her for a bit longer, then finally rushed at her, pulled out a knife, and forced her to walk to the empty lot. There, he assaulted her and ended her life. Javier also took her phone and most of her clothing. He then described how he called his friend and asked to be driven to the gas station. After returning to the scene, Javier tried to dispose of the body, but his efforts were only partially successful. After covering the body with dirt, he calmly returned home. He then revealed that he had hidden Alisa's belongings and the murder weapon in a sports bag in the ceiling of his house. This gave the police undeniable evidence. The bag also contained his clothes, which had been stained with Alisa's blood. But the killer's confessions didn't end there. He admitted to attacking 2 other girls in the same tunnel, including one incident 5 months earlier. Lastly, Javier confessed that during a trip to Mexico a few months prior, he had assaulted his cousin. With this overwhelming evidence, the police had enough to put the dangerous criminal behind bars. In addition to everything else, they obtained security footage from the gas station where Javier filled the canister with gasoline, which was added to the case file. Unfortunately, as is often the case, the trial of the maniac dragged on for years. The hearings on his case only began in March 2017, almost 6 years after his arrest. Before the verdict was announced, Javier gave a speech apologizing to Alisa's family and expressing regret for his actions. However, his remorse didn't help him. On March 21st, the court delivered its verdict. Javier was sentenced to death. At 24 years old, he became the youngest person sentenced to death in the state of Nevada. And that concludes our coverage of this tragic story. If you found this video informative or thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on cases like these. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to share this video with your friends and give it a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Thank you for watching.